So my book report is going to be on Providence by Max Berry, and this book is about a crew of four, and they go into space to stop these aliens they call salamanders. And I really like this book. I would just suggest it to anybody, really. It's a really nice book and has really good characters. And it's just a lot of fun. So, getting into more detail about the book, our main characters are Gary, Beanfeld, and what's his name? Anders, and then Jackson. Now, Gary and Anders, sorry. Gary and Anders are guys, and then the other two are girls. And Jackson is the commander. Anders is in charge of weapons and everything, and then Beanfeld is just keeping the crew not crazy type of job, and then Gary is technician. So they're all flying around shooting up a bunch of salamanders and everything in their hives, which are basically meteors. And then at the end of the book they start to see a lot more, and then what happens is the ship goes it gets damaged too much, and the escape pods aren't even really escape pods. They just don't work. I mean, they do work, but they're really bad space pods because, the people who made the ship didn't really want you to leave. So what happened is the ship gets damaged beyond repair, and Gary is left behind while everybody else goes down to this strange planet they don't know. And it turns out that strange planet is the aliens' home planet, which is just one big giant hive. And then Gary, it turns out he's not dead, and Gary is taken by some aliens into an underground cave, and he's just basically interrogated by this really smart alien who he assumes is a worker. And he finds out how to talk to the alien and everything. He starts talking to it, and he realizes that it's just getting information out of him. And the alien tells him, and it's alien language. It has a K at the end of every word. So instead of Gary, it says Gak. And I can either mean Gak as just Gary, or Gak as in the entire planet Earth. And he finds out that the aliens want to destroy the entire Earth. So eventually Anders ends up freeing Gary after Beanfeld dies trying to get a salamander to charge up this power core thing that can take out a lot of them. It's basically this electric rail gun, and they have to charge it up, so they just they have to kill a salamander to charge it up, though. And Beanfeld sacrificed herself doing that. Not Beanfeld, Jackson did. Jackson did all that. Well, because Beanfeld passed out when they crash landed. So eventually, Anders finds Gary, and they both go into this weird portal thing in the underground caves, and they end up going to this breeding area. They don't actually breed, I don't think. They just take them out of this weird pool area, and it's because they're the nurses. There's different classes. There's nurses, there's workers, and there's warriors and all that. And there's all nurses, and it turns out that the alien Gary was talking to was a nurse. And Anders dies fighting one of the nurses, and then Gary kills the aliens that he sees in there, and then he goes ahead and explores, and he finds out that even if he wanted to stop them, he couldn't. And then he dies due to lack of oxygen and everything, and then Bielefeld wakes up finding videos that Gary recorded while he was down there, and he told Bielefeld in the video that that Bielefeld didn't, sorry, keep on mixing up these names, but Gary told Bielefeld in the video that Anders and Jackson were already dead and that he might die soon. And then Bielefeld's about to die, and then this giant ship comes back and it blasts like the entire planet to pieces. But before it does that, it sends down this little pod to pick up Bielefeld. And sure enough, she survives, and then she gets a transmission to Earth and tells everybody that she's the only one left. And then she gets on her way back to Earth, and she gets there. She was the only survivor. So overall, it was just a really cool book, and I would definitely suggest reading it if you can find it. It's also an audiobook, and I really like the cover. It's just a really cool book. 5 stars, 5 out of 5. Could be 6 out of 5. I just really like it. I'll probably read it again. But yeah, that's the end of this book review. So, bye.